Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we have an awesome adventure for you.
We're at Indiana State Sanatorium.
So let's go explore.
The Indiana State Sanatorium was a major medical facility in Indiana dedicated to treating tuberculosis. TB is a highly contagious and often deadly lung disease that was a major public health crisis in the early 20th century. The Indiana State Sanatorium is located on a large rural site of over 200 acres, which is down from the original 500 acres when it opened, and is near Rockville, Indiana. This is in west central Indiana. While we were traveling through the cornfields of Indiana, we decided to make a stop here at this infamous Indiana State Sanatorium. So the first thing that we did is we checked in. A ticket for a self-guided walking tour at the Indiana State Sanatorium from the hours of 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. is $25 a person. And the tour includes the ability to walk through the tunnels, the main building, the tuberculosis hospital, the superintendent mansion, and the abandoned nursing home and mental hospital, and the rest of the entire grounds. The construction for the facility started around 1907, and the facility opened to tuberculosis cases in 1908. And it functioned mainly as Indiana's primary state-run tuberculosis hospital from 1908 to 1968. And it has the typical design reflected in the early 20th century TB hospital treatments. It focuses on isolation, quarantine, exposure to fresh air and sun, with the ability to get rest, and had separate wings for men and women. The complex was very self-sufficient and operated like a small community because it had its own power plant, dairy barn, greenhouse, staff buildings where doctors and nurses lived, and then you had your supporting infrastructure, which included the tunnels underneath the buildings that made it easy to take care of the residents. Over the years, it has expanded multiple times due to the number of TB cases that remained high, eventually treating hundreds of patients at capacity. And then in the 1950s and 60s, there were advances in antibiotics and other forms of treatments that drastically reduced tuberculosis cases, making specialized sanatoriums obsolete. The Indiana State Sanatorium closed in 1968 and stayed closed until the mid-70s when it opened up as the Lee Allen Bryant Healthcare Center, serving as a nursing home combined with a private mental and psychiatric hospital until its sudden closure in 2011. The abrupt shutdown left behind hundreds of beds, medical equipment, furnishing, and thousands of pieces of clothes. Today, the site is largely abandoned and it's deteriorating, and nature is trying to take the historic buildings and tunnels back. The Indiana State Sanatorium is a hotspot for urban exploration, paranormal investigations, and ghost hunting. It has an eerie atmosphere, and there is alleged hauntings tied back to the history of illness and deaths from tuberculosis in its senior living days. Over the more than 100 years of operation, there have been thousands of deaths on the ground that this facility sits on. And when you're with Tracy and Deb, you know that there's going to be ghost hunting involved in a place like this.
Is there anyone in here having a smoke? If you are, if you want to touch that lantern, let me know you're in here having a smoke. This was the smoker room, right? I used to smoke. If I had a cigarette, I would give you one. Were there a lot of people here?
So the number's unclear, but they believe that there's at least 2,500 to over 3,000 deaths from the tuberculosis patients that passed away there. And then that's not including the numbers that may have passed away when the elderly finished their lives there. When it became a psychiatric hospital, then there were more deaths. During that time frame, there was murders and suicides, and then other just strange deaths because of weird things. Like they would escape and they would die in the creek. I don't know if they drowned or they just got cold and died. Some would break into other people's houses, and I'm sure they probably got shot in that area back in the day. They were known to run out in front of cars that were passing on the highway and get hit. And then they would find ways to get up onto the roof, and they would just jump off the roof, which was 5 stories high. And it is believed that a lot of these people are buried on that ground somewhere.
Is there anyone down here that wants to talk? I have this little lantern over here that you guys can touch. If you touch it, it'll change colors. Did you work here? Did you live here? Did you get put here against your will? Right next to that light, I have a little microphone. Is this a maintenance room? A storage room? It is very dark in here, isn't it? I'm getting ready to leave to go to the next room. If you'd like to touch it, you better touch it now. Okay. I'll leave you alone.
Guys, this is the kind of stuff I have to deal with when Tracy and Deb get together. If they're not crawling into old gowns, who knows what they're getting into. This place is huge. I did a lot of EVP, which is electric voice phenomenon or recordings. We took our EMF meters with us, which are our electronic magnetic field meter. We did have a couple spikes on there. We just didn't get it on camera. They were randomly here. And one thing you got to think about is there's absolutely no power in that place. So whatever power would be there would have to manifest from itself, I would say. It is kind of hard to control the environment when you're there just during the day, because anybody can come while you're there. There's broken windows. The doors are either gone or destroyed on a lot of the entryways. There's holes in some of the rooms that lead outside through the walls. There's a lot of decay. There's animals that are in there, mice, who knows what else. We've seen some birds, a couple caught in the windows. There really wasn't any wind this day, but if there was a little bit of breeze, you would hear the vines and the leaves of the trees smacking the windows, because everything's so overgrown on the outskirts of the building. They do a really good job of maintaining like the yard and everything, but they don't do a very good job of weed eating or killing the weeds growing on the buildings or keeping the trees trimmed. This whole facility, all three buildings, it has an eerie factor to it. It kind of creeps you out. The basement is probably the most creepiest place out of all of it, because you have to realize that the morgue is downstairs. And that's one of the spots that I tried to investigate. I didn't get much there, but throughout the building, there's all these, like, some people would call them orbs. I can't say that they're actually orbs, because I don't know what they are. There's bugs in there. There's dust everywhere. But there's tons of stuff floating. I have hours probably of stuff floating in the air in my videos. I would say that the Tuberculosis Hospital is probably my favorite place that I got to wander around there. It definitely has an extreme creep factor to it. It kind of felt like I was being watched, and you're always kind of like looking because you think that there's something there that's not there. Then you go downstairs, that's where the basement to the tunnels, that's where we entered at, and the basement is full of gowns and clothes and all these rooms, and you know the morgue's down there, and it's a totally different creep factor down there. The main tuberculosis building is beautiful, and they're really trying to restore this place, but there's a creep factor to it. The nursing home, probably out of the three, was the least creepy for me. They say that the nurses' station that's in the middle of it is a paranormal hotspot, because that's where a lot of the people that work there would hang out. And I could see that. I mean, if somebody's passed and that was a job that they loved, they would be hanging around there maybe. I didn't get anything there, but I did get a lot of like reflection off my light or my camera, so I couldn't really suggest that there is anything there as well. Psychiatric hospital, the 5th floor, probably was, in my opinion, one of the creepier floors. There was a lot of stuff thrown in the rooms. Being on the top floor with almost all the windows busted out or open, nothing covering anything. It was still kind of dark. It just kind of felt heavy up there too. So keep that in mind if you go there and explore. So the current owners are doing everything they can to maintain this building and to try to restore as much as they possibly can. And that's why they've opened it up to the public so that people can go through there and take daily tours. And they're almost booked every night for people that are staying overnight to do paranormal investigations, which this is on our list to do. But at the time that we were there, we couldn't do it that night. And they already had people booked. And hopefully we can get this channel up to monetization so that we can afford to do that. So do those YouTube things, guys. That's how we can grow this channel. We explored all 3 buildings. We almost went in every room. We went onto every floor. We went into the basement. We went into the steam tunnels. This place is massive. I have over 6 hours worth of film that I had to cut down for this video. There's so much to see. A lot of it is rooms that are empty, but there's several rooms that are still the way that they were when the patients left. And then when you get into the dining areas, there's still food trays and cups and games out. There's all types of stuffed animals, tons of clothes, and then personal items in rooms left. When they closed this place down, the United States Marshals came in there and closed the place down immediately. They removed the patients and everything in the same day or same couple of days. Reasons that they closed this down was because of tax problems, malpractice suits and claims, and then there was wrongful death suits against them from people passing for unexpected reasons. Guys, Tricia's drugged me in this place. I think I'm gonna die. It's falling apart. So we need you to do those YouTube things.
Subscribe, like, and comment.
So the psychiatric hospital had 5 floors. And the facility housed both male and females. And the first 2 floors were male and females that were mixed. And then the 3rd floor was the housing for female patients who could not be around men. And then the 4th floor was male patients who couldn't be around women. And the 5th floor was the most violent male patients. And they say that that is a hot spot for paranormal investigations. So here's the steam tunnels. They are very, very dark. There's some spots that do have some windows here and there, but most of it is very dark. This is where a suicide murder happened. I don't know the details really on that. I'm still trying to figure that all out. but it is supposed to be a hot spot. And let me tell you, just because it's dark and there's a lot of moisture down there, you can hear like little echoes and stuff going on in there. It is a very creepy place to be. We had a long day here, so we didn't get the chance to do a closing. So if you made it this far, you're committed. So really consider doing those YouTube things. Smash that like button. Leave us a comment on, have you been to the Indiana State Sanatorium, or do you plan on going there, or do you even know anything about the place? And hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel. We want to get it monetized to help us go on more adventures to share with everybody. So if you would do that, we would really appreciate it, and we love our supporters. We have many more adventures on the way, and remember, life's full of adventures, and all you got to do is get up and go do one. Thank you guys for watching. We love you, and we'll see you on our next adventure.